Since 2016, populist and nationalist political forces have made astonishing gains in some of the longest-standing democracies. 67 countries saw political rights and civil liberties weaken, and to summarize, 2016 marked the beginning of the second decade in which declines in democratic values outnumbered the improvements year after year.
The Credit Suisse Research Institute is at this year's World Economic Forum in Davos to discuss one of the most pressing issues, the future of politics. 10 years after the last financial crisis, we see economic growth pick up, while at the same time, wealth and income inequality is also on the rise. Well, this puts inevitably severe pressure on societies, including liberal democracies. We have invited leading experts such as Professor Joseph Stiglitz, Professor Kenneth Rogoff, and Mario Monti to discuss this topic and see what the outlook for democracy is.
If you look at indicators of democracy, whereas they were steadily improving in the 1990s and over the last 10 years. In recent years, those indicators on the quality and extent of democracy have started to reverse.
Democracy and our political system have not evolved as fast as the economy has, and we've seen that in a lot of ways. And we would like to have a movement towards more inclusive, more democratic institutions, and at the same time we don't want to have mob rule.
The trends of populism, of the kind of protectionism that we've seen in President Trump, but also seeing somewhere other places, are obviously some things that I found very disturbing.
We've seen polarization through sort of populist voices, views that are contesting actually democratic values as we understand them.
The biggest challenge is to develop gradually a coordinated multilateral governance of globalization. Some progress had been done in the aftermath of the economic crisis, but then with the advent of the more unilateral assertive approach by President Trump, this appetite for multilateral coordinated solutions has gone away.
If we move to more regional economies, and we also have an unfortunate increase in protectionism, and recently we've seen a number of instances of rising protectionism, that could be disruptive to those global supply chains.
Well, to say that technology has become important to investors and politicians is the understatement of the year. But it keeps morphing. What does technology mean? I think at the moment, the forefront is data, that the big technology firms are accumulating these masses of data, and how do we deal with that? How do politicians deal with it?
That data with artificial intelligence can be used to engage in all kinds of policies that effectively are distortionary policies that are able to extract more revenue out of each individual.
If nations or regions refocus more on, if you will, themselves, that could lead to a policy shift more towards fiscal policy. Also believe that the sort of nations focusing more on themselves means focus on national champions, our great firms in the country. And then lastly, the whole topic of safety and security in a world that probably on average is becoming a little bit more uncertain and unstable, and therefore that's also an opportunity.